Good evening, televiewers. You're welcome to this edition of Prime on my Media Prime. This Tuesday, as usual, we are going to be looking at issues relating to relationship and marriage. And this evening, we are going to be discussing on red flags that we at times ignore at the premarital and post-marital levels of our relationships that end up pushing many couples to divorcing, because the divorce rate actually is very alarming, and many persons are questioning what did not work well. And our experts are going to be telling us what those ignored red flags are all about and how we can fix them before even engaging into marriage, so that we can enjoy as our parents used to do. We also, if time permits, are going to be looking at the question as to whether Christians should, or whether they can divorce or not. Is it biblical or not? They're going to be telling us they are in the house. So Radio Apostle Ambe Valentine, our permanent consultant, is in the house with us. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. Good evening, my co-panelists. Good evening, Cameroonians and viewers of Prime Hour. It's another Tuesday. Stay glued to your screen as we bring you very important information that will help shape your marriage and your relationships. God bless you.
Apostle Alfred Esingie, an expert in the domain, is also in the house and a regular on this Tuesday editions of the program. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. We thank God for another wonderful day that we have come again to discuss about relationship and marriage. And I want to say that just stay tuned to your television and get a lot of things you need to know from us this night.
Okay. Rev Tatoh Kenneth is also in the house with us. Good evening, Reverend. You are an expert in the domain also. Glad to have you.
My pleasure, Mr. Leo. Good evening to you. Good evening to my fellow panelists. Good evening to viewers of Prime Hour. It's such a privilege that we have come to discuss on this very serious and I want to say sensitive aspect of relationships, and we believe as we share this evening, much is going to evolve.
Okay, we also are going to be hooking up with Miss Asanji Yvette from Bermuda, who is going to be contributing on this topic of today. She is an expert in this same domain, counseling, marriage. We are also welcoming Apostle Lefor Divine. They call him the Love Doctor, all the way from Boya, Southwest Regional Capital. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, fellow viewers, and good evening, Mr. Leo. It's always an honor. I also want to greet my fellow panelists. I'm glad to be here all the way from Boya once more. It's always exciting to be here, and I believe the wisdom of God will speak. Wisdom is like the Bible says, wisdom is principle. And I think with the testimonies we are having, lives, families have been transformed, and that's our greatest joy. And I must say you're really doing a good job. Thank you for always having us, and thank you for having me. It's an honor to serve again.
Okay, we thank God because it's because of the grace of God. Without God, we will not be here doing what we are doing. So all the thanks, honor, everything goes back to God. Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa, are you alarmed by the alarming rates of divorce cases today?
Of course, Mr. Leo. It's a serious problem, and it's a song sung almost everywhere in the world. And I can tell you that we have more divorce in families and marriages today than ever before. And it's rather unfortunate that we live in an era where so much knowledge is dispensed every time, every moment. Books are written, seminars are organized, conferences are held. As a matter of fact, symposiums from one nation to another, one city to another. In order to build good marriages, we have marriage counselors, offices that were very scarce in Africa in the past. We have people who have been trained as certified marriage counselors who even sit down and talk to people. We have premarital counseling. But the alarming rate of divorce is so disturbing because marriages before this period did not have all those conferences, seminars, books, marriage counselors, and all whatnot. Why is there an alarming rate of divorce? The first thing is that, like we're talking about the red flags. things that you will know with every confidence that if you enter into this relationship, it will not last. The first, that people allow emotions to override rationalism. When emotionalism overrides rationalism, even intellectuals become dunces. You look at certain characteristics in a man, this is not a person you can spend the rest of your life with. And you look at characteristics in a woman, you discover this person is not competent to spend the rest of her life with you. Yet, there is something to call your emotion. There is this bond, there is this attraction that you have towards the person. You believe that as the days go by, the person will get better. You believe that things will change. What I feel for him is so strong in such a way that the passion I have for him, I cannot just let him go. For instance, you are in courtship with a man, he constantly beats you. And you say, I love him. Even though he beats me, I love him. Sister, a day will come where that emotion, that feeling, that desire will die. That's when the pains of his punches will become true and very real. The truth is, there are things in people when you see, you have to avoid. You have to do everything possible to avoid such things, because a lot of us see evil and cover them with prayers. You see Pentecostal sisters who look at a man who cheats them before relationship. They are in courtship, the man is cheating, and they allow what they are feeling for the man override that bad attitude. The danger we have in most of marriages today is that people carry their emotions to enter into marriage and leave the ability to be rational. Marriage is something you sit and think before you enter into it. You don't feel to enter into it. Feelings have deceived so many people because feelings don't last forever. And sometimes most of us enter into relationships because of the feeling we have. For instance, I was talking to a lady who is in courtship with a guy. The guy doesn't want to see the lady do anything. The guy hates to see the lady become something. She's endeavoring to work. She wants to go to school. She wants to advance. She has a passion for music. The man does not permit her to do all these things. Yet, and ask her, what are you still doing with this man? I just love him. The way I feel for him, I cannot let him go. I told the sister, that thing you are feeling doesn't last forever. If you allow your emotions to override your reasoning, one day you will understand that emotions don't last forever. I think these are some of the things that when we see in relationships, we have a serious problem. Number two, there's a difference between personality and character. Personality is what the person is made of. Character is the content of the person. Sometimes his looks, sometimes the lady's looks, her shape, her color, her beauty, probably her qualification, that's a personality. But character is different from personality. And sometimes we follow these personal looks, this passion. The truth is, we most at times marry personality, but we end up living with character. We marry personalities, but we end up living with character. And you must understand that a man's character is what he is, not his looks. And because of these looks, some girl says, I like his height. Somebody say, I like her curves. I like her color. I like the size of her waist. My brother, those things are what builds someone's personality. If you marry because of personality, she has a master's degree. She has a PhD. That's personality. That's reputation. She speaks good English. She can properly represent me publicly when it comes to grammatic expression. That's personality. She is from Harvard University. She has a master's in the University of Boya. That's personality. She's coming from this prominent family. That's personality. Personality is not character. You will marry that personality, but you will tend to live with character. Even the value of that personality will disappear when character becomes sour. So I think that if we don't marry because of emotion, we marry because we are rational, we will not divorce. If we see all these flags, I've seen many people get married to persons because of this emotional drive, and I've seen also persons get married to persons because of this personality mentality. But you must marry as a rational person, and you must marry character. You can always build someone's personality, but sometimes it's difficult to change someone's character.
Okay. Apostle Alfred Esingie, Do you believe with what many persons are writing about the value of this institution called marriage is depreciating at a very fast rate?
Almost terminating.
Okay.
Almost going out of place, because
so you are rating is even worse than.
Yes, it's really worse, because people no longer have value for marriage.
Okay.
You know, people just go in for interests, what they want, what they think the society wants out of them, and it becomes a very big problem. And like we're talking about the red flag issue here, it's really not a red flag anymore.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of people who know that this thing, I can manage it, provided there is money that can cover up all those things. You know, if I'm eating well, I don't think that there is, you say I can handle these things. Now we should be able to know the things we can change and the things which we cannot change. We should be able to know the things that will change eventually.
Yeah, but if you can cope because of money, are you not also going to be causing another problem somewhere? Because the money is there, but maybe the other way you are not satisfied, and then you go behind wanting to.
No, it's obvious that when they go in for money, they already have a plan B. They said, okay, this man, I know he will not be able to satisfy me as a married wife. So I get his money and then I keep my boyfriend. Or I get his money and then I keep on doing my other things I was doing, my other relationships. And some of them are not even going after another man, especially a lady, but they go out after another woman. Because all what they want is, if they tell you that, I swear to God, I'm not dating any man. I swear to God, I'm not dating any man. What they are saying is true, because they are dating but a woman. Yes, they are dating but a woman. It's very common out there. Very, very common. They are ready to sacrifice anything. Now it's not about what they want, what the value of marriage, this companionship, maybe procreation. Now they are out for interest. It is this interest that is really dealing with us. Like in the Western world today, where at first we were laughing at them because they were doing contract marriage. Gradually the thing has come to us, but it is not called contract marriage anymore. It's called interest-oriented marriage. The day my interest is threatened, I leave. And the day my interest is protected, I continue in this particular relationship. It is happening every day. And listen, our children are watching. In some years to come, I wonder what will happen. But Mr. Leo, there is something that I saw in the scripture where Isaiah was talking about. He said there's going to come a time where 7 women shall run to one man, begging him only for name. Don't mind, we will look for our food. We will buy our dresses. That one, I will take care of it. But when it comes to name, please, that's what I want. Now, why would marriage get to that level? Is it because marriage has lost its value or is gaining more value? No, it has lost its value. One, because men die in the course of time, they die in the course of war, all these kind of things, and this one. And then the women are becoming smarter now, creating relationship mostly but with the same sex. And then they don't have interest for men anymore. Now, the few that will remain that want to get value and want to get a name, they will be rushing to grab one man. It makes marriage now to lose that value for which it was intended. Companionship, fellowship, and then maybe you want to have a good family to say that, okay, I've raised a legacy for myself and move on. Now, the red flags come up when people see it. Red flag in this case say, I see this thing. It is a danger. If I continue with it, it's going to destroy me and this relationship. But you see it and you continue with it.
Okay, Reverend. We are talking about red flags. What are these red flags that are ignored at the premarital and post-marital levels?
Yeah, what I must say is that the encouragement that people always have to, hold very firm to is that when you are still to get married to somebody and you identify some of these red flags, do everything to see that if it is not going, don't continue, because once you are there, the ball game changes.
What is red flag? Some people may be watching and will not understand what red flags are.
Yeah, a red flag is simply a danger. It's simply something, a danger that presents itself. It shows up that this is a potential danger in this relationship. This is something that can destroy this relationship. And some people like, okay, as Esingie has said, they think they can manage. You know, on the football pitch, there is always a red card and a yellow card. A yellow card signifies a warning, while a red flag even is showing that you should stop. So many things of these things you are talking about when a red flag should be. There's no saint out here. There is nobody who is 100%, you know, without any fault. But there are things that when you start identifying already that this is the difficulty in this relationship, it is better you pipe down. It's better you back out. Because if you don't back out, you will formalize the relationship, and the very relationship you formalize will become a serious thorn on your flesh. For instance, you are in a relationship with somebody who is violent. The person has proven himself to be violent before, when you are still, you know, courting with the person, you are still engaged, and you are thinking the person is going to change over time. What do you think will account for this change you are anticipating? Secondly, you are in a relationship with somebody who has proven that he can tell lies more than Satan himself. The man can lie and, you know, deceive you in many areas, and you are like, okay, he is going to change. Somebody who is already getting ready for marriage should be someone who has built a system of values for himself. That should be a man. But if the person has gotten to the point where there are some of these aspects about him that he's so glued to them and he can't change them, it means that person is in fact somebody to avoid. Some of these red flags can also revolve around infidelity. Somebody is, maybe you are courting, you have seen the man, you know, he is hanging out with other ladies or with other men, and you think the man is going to change when you finally get married to him. It is not true he is going to change if there are no serious follow-up factors or follow-up actions that are taken into consideration. So these red flags are things that when you as an unmarried person identify in a relationship, the best thing is that you should back out before they destroy you. The challenge with many people out here is that they think there's going to be a change. And this change they are thinking about is not motivated by anything, because there is change does not just happen on its own. There are motivators, there are triggers of change. And one thing with our ladies out here today, please, I want to talk to ladies without any bias. Many ladies are proving to be desperate for marriage. The way some are attending to marriage is like marriage is equitable to salvation. Marriage is good when a better version, or in fact, you know, a better version of you will emerge in that marriage. Not that you get into a marriage and everything about you begins to dwindle, life begins to look so difficult and rude for you. So when you show a man that you are desperate, the man will treat you anyhow, and he's treating you anyhow. That is how it is going to graduate when the relationship is formalized. But if you show that you carry some value when you are still in courting with the man, you are still engaged, you prove that you carry some value, the man is also going to esteem you. And as the man holds you in high esteem, he is also going to be seeing how he can change. We have had to discuss with some people, and for them, they look at a marriage, in fact, a good marriage, like revolving only around the woman. It's like the woman should work while the man stays and, you know, be the King Kong, while the woman is doing all the work, improving on herself, and of which you as the man also, there are things about you that have to improve. It takes two people for it to work well, not just one person.
Okay.
So, yeah, so when one person is, working on it to the nail while the other person folds his hands and sits, it is already showing that this relationship is built on sand, it's not built on the rock, and it is going to crumble with any storm. So those are some kind of indicators. The indicators begin to show themselves, and people want to manage what cannot be managed.
Now, we are talking about red flags, and we also understand that before marriage today, most of the men and women that attend your churches now are men of God. They attend marriage seminars. They come for counseling. They register for some time so that you counsel them. Why are you not telling them what the red flags do? Is it that you talk about God and forget those things that they're supposed to be looking out for?
I like the question. Thank you for giving me such a question. In fact, I was hoping that you give me such a question. The thing is, I realize, thanks to There were two things I was hoping to mention, some of the red flags. Maybe with time I might mention some. They've already mentioned, I think the apostle mentioned physical abuse. There's also emotional abuse, which we have talked, I think we have tackled even emotional abuse on this platform. One of my trending videos is about emotional abuse as well. And then there is irresponsibility. It's funny how a girl will see a guy who is, in fact, marriage is for men and women and wives, not just for, you understand, they'll see these things and they'll see do possessiveness. You will see somebody who wants to own you. In fact, marriage is not about possessiveness. You see, they will see all of these things and they will still keep on. Three things are the major reasons for that, Mr. Leo. One is greed. What is greed? You will see some of these people see these red flags. I think I've mentioned some of them. I've just added some, like the irresponsibility, possessiveness, and even addictions. It's dangerous to marry somebody who is addicted to something. It will always turn out bad. They see these things. You will see. If I were growing up, Mr. Leo, it was girls were shy to say that they were dating scammers. They were shy. No, in fact, a girl will pretend as if she does not even know that the guy is coming. Today, they live in the same house because scammers hardly live alone now. They are living with their friends. They live in the same compound, in the same apartment with the scammers. You know, scammers hardly go. They are there. You see them do the thing. They bring them food. You know, now some of them are proud. Or some of them, they know. In fact, Mr. Leo, it will shock you to know that many parents of scammers nowadays indulge them. In fact, they know that these children are scamming and they encourage it. Why? Greed. Greed. In fact, you are trying to put the blame on us as counselors and pastors, but the truth is, I told you, even when fake pastors, like you say, trick a congregation, before you blame the pastor, blame the congregation. Let me tell you this, the truth is, these people only play on the greed of the people. I always say this, a scammer, a 419 can only take you to the degree of your greed. It's your greed in play. So you will see, they see, most of them see these red flags, but they're like, I go do her, I get two picking them already. Who go take care of my pikin? I told one guy, I said, it's so difficult for you to make a good choice right now because the only condition you are looking for is a man who can take care of your kids right now. And that's why it's so dangerous to put responsibility on babes. I made a post the other time and people were like, I said, you see, when family responsibility is placed on teenage girls, promiscuity becomes the only way out. That's the truth. So you will see there is greed. They know that this is wrong. They know that this is not the kind of man.
This is what you are saying. My question is, these things that you are saying,
yes,
is it that during the counseling and the rest, you are talking about God, Rahab, Rachel,
no,
and not talking about this?
Please hear what I'm about to learn. I'll just say something. Like I said, you cannot, no matter what you tell somebody who has an interest, like he said, you cannot help them. I think all the pastors here will tell you, you can preach from now to look, man of God, sometimes we pray, we cry, we fast. In fact, there are many of us who will tell somebody, look, because
cast out demon.
No, it's not, forget about it. I look, sometimes you have to be very careful.
You change your message only
to look, Mr. Leo, sometimes see, because you know they say my problem for my woman, be careful. Sometimes you talk and you say you don't hear. As they go out, they do the direct opposite of what you say.
It's Apostle Ambe who said,
yes, that he was going out, yes, and he's watching out there. He was warning the man outside. You see, these are the realities. Okay, like I mentioned, greed. There is also lack of, let me say, ignorance.
Okay.
Many children are marrying these days just because you are a star, because you have 1,000 followers of Facebook. Many of them feel they know. You tell them, in fact, we have seen just about 2 Cameroonian stars are already messing up themselves online. Now, I don't want to call names. It's getting out of hand. Because if you told them to come and meet maybe the love doctor and help them, no, meet people who have proven, there's a consistency and all of that. Because even inconsistency is a red flag. And many times we see these things during the relationship. So there is this aspect of it, is ignorance. And I've always said this, and I will always be a man who said this. Most of the problems we face in marriage could have been handled before marriage, but we don't handle. Lastly, lack of emotional intelligence. Most of the time these things happen, especially with women. I want to say this, because women are natural emotional beings. They allow their emotions override their thinking. And as long as you do that, Mr. Leo, I will tell you the truth. We have counseled people, pray with them like this. As they go out, the man comes and kneel down and cry. They write you in the night, sir. That way talk so. I be really want to do, but the way he cry, I believe say God don't change his heart. These are real. So, Mr. Lo, we do our best. But a human being who is emotional, like we said the other time, even some girls abuse men. When the men hit them, they come online and make everybody believe and support them. So these are some things that are happening. You see a lot of times they say man and woman probably not put their mouth. Why? Because sometimes you know very well the problem. I have seen a girl when I was in university. This is the truth. I saw a girl. The boy beat her and dragged her on tar and scraped her face like this. We saw blood come out. Scraped her on tar and dragged her. When the one to say, "Me man no touch me, na my girlfriend," it was something else. Took her. That same evening, I watched him and the girl going to the bar to drink. How can you help such a girl? So we say it, we help them, but I've given you 3 major reasons. Many are children, many don't have emotional intelligence, and many are just simply greedy. So you see somebody come with a car. You know very well that everybody in his quarter he's sleeping with, everybody, but you rationalize it. I go do her. I need my own small money for take care of myself. So these are the things that are happening. These are the challenges we as counselors and pastors, we face every day, Mr. Leo.
Okay, let's move over to Bomenda to get the first intervention of Mrs. Asanji Yvette. Tell us why some persons are ignoring these red flags, or what she considers as red flags.
Good evening, Mr. Leo, and good evening to everybody on board and to our viewers. Alarming divorce rate in our society today. It's really a call for concern. Mr. Leo, you will be surprised. I had a case in my office. They got married late December and filed in for divorce early January. I'm talking about few weeks into their marriage. So when you look at some of these things, you begin to wonder what is happening. And we have a good number of things like it said, you know, people ignore red flags in premarital relationship. First of all, some people rush into marriage, which is part of the reason for divorce. Like you just meet somebody within a few weeks or within a month or so, you are getting married. You barely know that person. Then one other thing is people don't understand what is supposed to be done during courtship. Now we have a phase, the first phase set in, and then you choose to know who that person is. Now courtship is when you are on that journey of knowing who that person is. Now a lot of people get into courtship, they get so excited, you know, they live the love hormones, the estrogen, the testosterone. You know, when somebody is in love, the feelings override thinking. And so during courtship, what they're supposed to be doing, they actually ignore it. They are carried by feelings. They are carried by emotions. But courtship is a period where we don't even need, I even discourage anything as far as emotions is concerned in courtship. You need to have your senses in place. You need to have your senses intact to be able to judge where you're going to, this decision you're taking. This is a whole lifetime decision. Are you taking the right decision? Are you going towards the right direction? If you put in emotions, you know, you're carrying your heart on a journey and you're leaving your brain behind. When it comes to courtship, heart should stay off. Let the brain be working. Let the brain be working so you'll be able to judge accurately if what you're doing is the right thing. Okay, so Mr. Leo, as I was saying, when people don't take time to court or to understand what courtship is, when you're courting someone, it's a period of total, you know, self-discovery, total, you get to know who you are getting into marriage with. You get to know the person's family. You get to know the person's character traits, the person's personality. You get to know a lot of other things. But when these things are ignored, and just like let the courtship pass quickly so that we can go into the marriage. Obviously, when they get married, the things that you have ignored, they come to you now in reality. And that's why I tell everybody, if there are things you saw in someone before marriage that you didn't like, but you went ahead to marry that person, please, you need to keep tolerating that same thing. You tolerated it before marriage. It's not gonna change after marriage. In fact, what you tolerate before marriage gets worse. So be ready to live with it. It gets worse after marriage. You have to live with it, whether you like it or not. You saw it already, but you let it lie low. Those are the red flags. Those are the red flags. Then we'll talk about people get married without premarital counseling. I wonder if in this generation now, you can be trying to get married to someone and you don't go through proper premarital counseling. I'm not just talking about the premarital counseling that is done in churches, because churches do. I'm happy churches are doing a lot of premarital counseling now. But I won't lie to you, it's more from a kind of advice and from a spiritual base. After undergoing your spiritual, your counseling at the church, you can still preferably look for a professional to do you another kind of counseling. I mean, the one that will call a spade, what you mean in marriage. And one thing with church counseling is sometimes it's group counseling, and so people's personal cases are not handled. It's just like they can put us and they talk to us on communication, they talk to us on this, on that. But you have your own way that you communicate with your spouse that is not personally handled. So this is where I get to differentiate a little bit when it comes to professional counseling and a church counseling. But in whatever case, if the worst comes to the worst, better have counseling, if at least at the church level. Don't go into marriage without church counseling, without counseling at all. It lays a foundation for you, and it will avoid the alarming divorce rate in our society.
Thank you, Mr. Asanji Yvette, coming in there from Bamenda, Northwest Regional Capital. Apostle Ambe Valentine Ngwa. She raised some issues there about the fact that aside the red flags, okay, the red flags could also mean that we failed to do he usually talks about, is it profiling?
Yes, profiling.
Profiling of the person, profiling of the family background and all of these things. As people fail to do their homework. It's just the emotion. What I feel for him, I feel that.
Mr. Leo, we have seen people who have spent 4 years in courtship.
And they still failed.
And they still failed. We've seen persons who have spent 6 years in courtship and the marriage still failed. How do you account for a relationship that has spent 6 years for cross-examination, as they say in court? Cross, it's not cutting anymore.
You mean you?
It's crossed. I'm talking as a marriage counselor.
Okay.
I was talking to some couples on Sunday that spent 6 years in courtship. That is not courtship, it's cross-examination. It's scanning. It's Googling. You Google your partner. You're not profiling partner. You Google the man for 6 years. He Googles you for 6 years. Both of you get married and you cannot still cope with each other. Is it about profiling the man? Is it about trying to find out? We know many persons who take 6 months, rush into relationship, enter without actually profiling their partners. What of cases where people spend 6, 7 years in courtship, where the man is not only profiled, he is Googled. The man is scanned. The man is properly cross-examined. Then you move into that relationship only to complain about the same things that you saw during those 6 years you did not admire. You preached against it, you cried against it, you complained against it, you prayed against it, you even tried to separate because of it, but at the end of the day, you got married to the person because of those same things. Then you are now in marriage. What you could not escape in courtship, what you could not abandon in courtship, what you could not deny in courtship, you want to deny now in marriage. You must have amnesia, you must have some mental problem. Because that's where we have a problem. Some people believe that it is a crime to separate. This is another problem. Yes. When we see the red flag, it becomes like, what will she think if I leave her? What will he think if I leave him? That's complex, that guilt. You will choose to take guilt and swallow what you cannot be able to contain in the future. Why don't you just tell her that, brother, sister, I have tried this thing for 5 years, it doesn't go, let us just break up. Sometimes some breakup is success. You were supposed to acknowledge, because I see there is a guilt, just like when you have money, you don't give people money. Sometimes they make you feel like you are wicked. Yes. That you have money does not mean that you are a distributor of money. You will always have needs that people will be around you that you will not give them money. And they will make you feel like you are not good. Family members will make you feel like you are not competent, you are not a nice person. No, don't allow anybody blackmail you emotionally. Emotional blackmail is a serious challenge in our present day society. When people are in a relationship for 2, 3 years, 4 years, you can no longer contain the relationship. You want to break us, have emotional blackmail. What will people say? What will her parents say? What will my friends say? Are they not going to call me a demon that I wasted her life? It is better I waste your life for 4 years than to waste it for eternity. Somebody said it is better to marry late or to stay long than to marry wrong. Now, when this emotional blackmail creeps into relationships, you will start thinking maybe of the good things the girl has once done or the man has once done. Then you start feeling guilt that if you are saying let the relationship end, it's going to be a problem. For instance, a girl can be with a man. The man may help you go to school, and the man has a bad attitude. Very bad attitude. Then you realize that the man has an attitude you cannot contain. Tomorrow you say you want to marry him, and they say you have allowed him send you to school. If he's beating you every week and sending you to school, will you allow that wrong attitude of a man messing you up with his hand, with his fist? Then you say, okay, I don't want people to think that I have eaten his money and abandoned him. You marry because of the fact that you are thinking what people will say. If you enter into that house and the man busts your eyes, who loses? It's you. There is an emotional blackmail that causes people to enter into relationships. Be sincere. People will have emotional pain for a while. Emotional pain. I want to talk on what Apostle Alfred wrote on Facebook. The reason why sometimes marriage is because 2 sick people got married.
I was going to ask him that question.
2 sick persons. I read it on his Facebook page. 2 sick people got married. Somebody is coming with a wound from somewhere. You came with your own wound. He has not God. He hasn't healed his own wound, and you have not healed yours. And then you come to the life, the person has to crush that the wound the wound you are carrying, and then somebody crashes it. It will be a very serious problem. But let us deal with the issue of emotional blackmail. Okay. A lot of persons feel like they feel guilty for separating. Please, let me tell you, no matter how far you have gone towards the wrong direction, the best way to come out is to change the right direction. If you are driving to Kumba, where you are supposed to go to Yaoundé, no matter how far you have covered the distance, it's not too late to make a U-turn. I don't care how long that courtship has been. If you know that characteristics, for instance, you want to marry a man who doesn't know how to apologize. He is always correct. He's so arrogant. He makes you feel as if it's a privilege for you to marry him. Listen, I'm talking to you as a man. I'm not talking about women. Sister, get out of the relationship because you'll be more of a house help than a wife. Any man that places no value on you in courtship will not value in marriage. That's a simple truth. You don't go into a relationship and say, okay, we have stayed for too long. I met him since 4 years ago. How can I just leave him now like this? Do you have children? Is there anything that is binding the two of you? Do you have any property together? Do you have any marriage certificate? You are still in courtship. There is no distance in courtship that cannot be separated. That is one thing you must accept in your mind. Emotional blackmail. That is very, very serious. And I think most of the marriages we get today, which are a mess to the society, is because we begin to feel like, if I leave this girl after 3 years, what will people say? Would they not say because I had nothing, I accepted her? Now that I've gotten something, I want to stay with her. Okay. You are living with a woman that cannot apologize.
Okay, marriage is not evangelism. Many people think they will change their man after marriage. Let the person change first. Clifford is writing. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Can one get married to a girl who lacks education, money, and a job? Can only love cover all this? Dominique in Yaoundé. Apostle Ambe, please answer. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm enjoying the program. Kudos to all the panelists. Please, I have this worry. There is this guy who is dating a sister in my church, and even when I head to see the girl's family, the guy loves the sister so much that he has bought a land, and is about to build a house for the said girl. But the girl was not faithful and got pregnant for another man. Now, my question is, should the guy continue the relationship with the girl, or what advice can be given to the guy? I'm sure Apostle Ambe said it already, that if you were going to Yaoundé and you found yourself in Ikiliwindi, okay? Greetings, Apostle Ambe. I enjoy the way you talk, and I need your number. Quine B, FSNC in West Region. Good evening, everyone on board. Is it right for a guy to permit his ex-girlfriend come cook for him if she proposes? Is it a must to look for a working-class woman when wanting to get married? T-boy, your questions are worrying, eh? Hey, good evening. I'm called Yusuf Mohammed from Dop. I'm so happy with your topic for today. Thanks for the beautiful message from the man of God. Okay, Yusuf. Good evening, everybody in the house. Wilson from Balikumbat. Divorce rate is increasing today because our parents are not giving us the right value of respect. 2, women emancipation is deceiving most girls. And lastly, Western culture is responsible. Now, the question to you has to do with what I also read, like you said on your page this morning. You talked of 2 sick persons coming to live together. What was the message you were passing to the world?
Yeah, there is a tendency that most people want a healing, but they don't know where to get it.
Okay.
So the next available soldier, they want to lie on it. And sometimes they mistake the kind gestures of people for love, and because of that, they fall into it. A lot of people have gotten married when they just came out from another relationship. You are just coming out from a broken relationship, and the next thing you're doing is to enter into another relationship without getting healed. Now, the healing process must go through before you enter into a new relationship. The healing process. Because if not, you're going to be transferring aggression. You'll be transferring aggression to the other person, and the other person also will be transferring aggression. Have you ever heard a situation where they say, no be so my fiance be do me, no be so way that my boyfriend he be there. Now, so they are trying to take what the experience from the other relationships and try to bring into what they are in today. And that is why relationships can never work. 2 people who are hurt, who have been broken down, whose emotions are shattered, if any little thing happens, they remember the past, and all they would do is they will hit hard on the other person. And let me tell you something, a red flag in this particular case, if you come and you listen to someone, and the person, all the time the person talks only about the ex, talks about how he was like this, how he was like that, my ex was like that, he was like this, please run away very fast. Because you give time to ensure that that person has been able to forgive the ex, have been able to let go the hurt. You see that they have been able to handle it before you can be able to continue in that marriage or that relationship. If not, you will still find yourself behaving either being hurt by that other person. So I want to say this. It is very clear. Know someone that is hurt. It's very easy to know that. How do you know someone who is hurt? They always refer to people. They always refer to that failure. They always refer to that hurt. They always refer to the person. Either they sit sometimes and they are daydreaming. And sometimes you're with the person, you're trying to even talk, and the person is thinking, no, I was thinking there are many things that one is thinking in life, and sometimes they don't want to talk to you. We have heard a lot of people complain here, and they're trying to send reports. My guy does not talk to me. He does not want to talk with me. He will just come in. I've tried to know what is wrong, what is eating him up. Most of those kind of people are sick people. They need to be healed. They need to be healed from that bruise, that hurt. And sometimes a good woman can heal a man whose heart is broken. And sometimes a good man can heal the heart of a woman whose heart is broken. But the truth about it is that they should not rush to seal covenants. They should take time to learn how to go through the process of healing. The healing process is very important. And if you discover that you spend 1 year, 2 years, you cannot heal, that relationship cannot work. Healing must take place before you enter into a new relationship. Healing must take place. That is why I'm saying that if you find out that someone is still hurt, someone is still using abusive words on you because of how that other person behaved on her or on him, please, that is a red flag. If you go into marriage, you'll be finding yourself have to solve 1 or 2 problems that you did not cause. And it will take you back to square one every time. You will climb to a particular level in a relationship, and before you discover, you come back to square one. And you ask yourself, what is happening? You cannot get the result to what? You build and you build. And then before you discover, you come back to square one. And then the next thing you tell yourself is that we cannot continue here. Let us divorce. Let us end this relationship. I think it's the court that will settle it. No, it's not the court. Okay. It's not the court. You need a love doctor to talk to you. Okay. You need the love. Yeah.
Miss, I'll read some messages. Those that we can take down so that to help explain some of the things. Just jot them down and provide answer. This one says, please, I want to divorce because of my mother-in-law. I did something to her for almost 3 years, but she doesn't want to let go. And I just lost my father. This gives me the feeling that she might be the cause because she allowed Satan to enter in my family through her unforgiveness to kill my father. Please help me. You need counseling. So I would advise that you get to us. Tell us where you are writing from, but I'll advise that you get to one of the counselors in the studio so that you can talk this out with them. They'll help you, please. I say including with the husband because okay.
Okay. I think she needs a special counsel. Yes. That can follow it up, and she should be ready to pay the price. Yes. She should be ready to pay, like Madam Asanji was talking about. A lot of them just want to come and talk. You give them counsel for free. There are specialists who live but on counseling. If they must help you until you are healed, until that problem is solved, you must be ready to pay the price. Take your time and meet a counselor, pay their fees. And yes, and you get the treatment from it. Okay.
Blessed evening, everyone on board. I'm so inspired by your talk show this evening. I'm called Miss Ketis from Yaoundé. Please, my question this evening is it good to get married to someone who always remind you about your past? This is you once offend him, yet anytime you have an issue, he keeps bringing it up. What do you do? Thank you. I'm sure that's what we're talking about now.
Yes.
They should not remind about the past.
Every time you want to talk, you refer on some kind of things that...
Okay, but some of you, I think that I just share the counseling group so that they can join? If they can join. But please, after the program, if you need their numbers, get to me. Yes. But that should be after the program. I will share their numbers with you so that you can get to them, but also get to them professionally, like he is saying, so that they can give you the best. Good evening to everyone in the panel. Please, Apostle Ambe, what of if the couples have a child or children and come to see that one partner is not changing from the bad attitudes? Okay? Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Liu and everyone in the studio. I am impressed with your program and I need help. Mr. Liu, I am Nelson from Yaoundé. I am in a relationship with and I have been asked to join the church the girl is attending before I can marry her. I love this girl so much, but I am not ready to change my church. Nelson is writing from Yaoundé. Someone should quickly answer Nelson.
I think who is asking in the first place? Is it the girl's pastor? Because some pastors actually will also need to undergo this therapy we are talking about. Some pastors, if you're a Christian in your church, a man wants to marry a female Christian in your church and you are imposing that the man must join your church, there is a very big problem at that level. If there is a counseling you give two of them, they choose which church they are going to attend after their marriage. They are the ones to agree on such. But by the standard, a woman is normally supposed to follow a man to his church by the standard. But it is not something written on stone. The two of them have to agree that this is the best place where we can use as this is our family church. This is where we are going to grow as a family.
Okay.
Not that there's an imposition that you must change church before you marry. No, it's wrong.
I want to come in. I want to come in. Yes. You see, the Bible says the body of a man belongs to the woman, and the woman's body belongs to the man. When it comes to their souls, it belongs to God. A man does not own the soul of a woman. I must not follow a man if his church is taking me out of salvation. It's delicate. What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? No marriage, I repeat, is strong enough to jeopardize with your salvation. If at all where the man is going to is a living church, a church, Jesus Christ, you cannot take me from a living church and take me to a mosque. They are jeopardizing my salvation. You can't take me to a Buddhist church. You cannot take me to a Hindu shrine. That is the truth. I cannot trade my salvation for marriage. So if at all the pastor is insisting for denominational interest, the pastor needs to give his life back to Christ. He's not yet born again. And he is a baby as far as ministry is concerned. But if the person is coming from a living church, Presbyterian church, Catholic church, or any other Pentecostal church, and wants to marry your daughter, by right, what the Rev Tatoh said, the girl has to follow the man to his denomination.
Okay.
You see, there's a problem here. Because while Apostle Ambe might think the Catholic church is a living church, there are many of some of us Pentecostal pastors that might not see the Catholic Church as a living church. I want us to really be careful. It must not be, you have just mentioned other religions. But the truth is, deep within many pastors and denominations, there are people who don't see other denominations as living church. So sometimes we must be very careful, because at the end of the day, the truth is, it matters what the head of that church is thinking. Because sometimes we might say not everybody has the liberal thinking that you have. I might have a liberal thinking. No. The
problem is
I'm not talking on my behalf. I'm talking about what I've seen out there.
Yeah, but the problem is, can we actually say that because people go to this church, the divorce rate is higher, or
religious discrepancies has influenced divorce?
Religious, yes, doctrinal differences. Doctrinal differences affect. I think I've mentioned that before.
Yeah, but why are you counting what he's saying?
No, I'm not. I was talking on behalf of. No, it was. Look,
he was trying to be dynamic.
I was trying to be dynamic because see, some people are listening out there, and let me be honest. There are people who their pastor stood on church and said, for example, we were talking about TB Joshua. There are people who have stood on their church and said, if you go to Nigeria and Kamba, don't come to this church. No, let's be honest. I'm not talking on my part, please. Sometimes when I say this thing, I'm saying this.
I know people who go to church only during Christmas.
Yeah.
And they said my church is Catholic church.
Yes. So sometimes
and then you come to the church where a girl is so committed to the church, serving in this church, have roles in the church, has people that are in that church because of her services, and then you want to remove her in one day. It is practically impossible.
But
you said I should follow you to your church. Why you are not even going to church?
Apostle Alfred,
yes.
Almost everybody is mentioning Catholic Church here, and I'm not too comfortable because
no.
You raised Catholic, you talk Catholic. He is talking Catholic.
Instead, he called Catholic a living church. We were happy. He said called Catholic church.
You said somebody says I go to church only on Christmas and it's Catholic church, as if everybody who goes to Pentecostal church is going to
when
heaven.
I said in his Catholic church, you would have wanted to know what I insinuated. I was insinuating that most people go to church during Christmas and New Year. It may be Baptist, it may be Full Gospel, it may be any other church. Because I know that most of the churches today are giving weekly meetings. But there are churches who don't care about weekly meetings.
I am a Catholic, and I've seen very successful mothers. Most of us.
Exactly.
I will not want.
No, that was actually what I was happy because
Mr. Leo,
he said the one causing problem.
He said the one causing trouble.
The one causing trouble now. The one is causing trouble now.
There is something.
We believe.
There is an issue here.
He called the living church. He called Catholic Church a living church.
No, there is an issue here. I still want to submit this. When a lady you are in church, you are committed, and somebody has come which you think he is not safe, why first of all accept a premarital proposal from him? That is the first vetting factor. That's the vetting factor that if you are serious about your relationship with God, that is the first vetting factor that you put into play. So if the person is, in fact, coming to your church is already a problem and so on, so the vetting factor of your salvation should be that since marriage is a very serious issue, I have a
problem with that too.
No.
Because salvation is not something that is written on somebody's face.
A woman's soul
excuse me.
No, salvation is not written on somebody's face.
Excuse me. Apostle
we have
Lefor.
baby Christians.
Okay, Apostle
the person says, I am a Baptist Christian.
Okay.
Baptized. And she was a Baptist before joining her present church, Mr. Liu.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. So the issue at stake here is that the counselor has to speak with them. They need to speak with the counselor, with both of them, and advise them that now I had faced it. I had faced it. Now I'd had a case like that. When I spoke with the two of them, the man was attending the Catholic church. I'm not calling Catholic church in any derogatory manner here. And the lady was in one of the Pentecostal churches. So in fact, when it was a tie, I asked them, which church will you people be attending after you get married? The man said Catholic. The woman said, we're going to be attending my church. So I said, okay, for our next meeting on coming, I need 15 reasons why you will settle in a Catholic church. 15 reasons why you settle in your church. So when they came, I said the man should, first of all, present. The man, he gave 3 reasons. I was blocked. The lady was, recounting and going. I said, so you people can go and talk on it and come back in so that we can discuss on it. It settled the matter. They are settling in the ladies' church today, and everything is moving okay. So you don't force it through the throat of anybody. Allow the two of them. When two people are getting married, they are level-headed enough. So give them a guidance, counseling, as to how they're going to do it. Because doctrinal bias is an issue.
Yeah, because people live by value system, and a lot of times our
value system.
Yes,
because when the
value system sometimes come from our religious background.
Yes,
very important.
Yes. When the lady, for instance, is a Catholic and we want to baptize the baby tomorrow, and the man is from a different church who want to do baby dedication, there will be a tie. There will be kind of confusion, a quarrel. So they're supposed to settle on that. So, me, I don't always even advise people to proceed with a relationship as long as they have not settled on it. Two of them should talk and settle
before they
go on.
Before they bring us wahala here.
Yes. We don't want to solve.
No man's soul belongs to a woman. No woman's soul belongs to a man.
Okay. Good evening to everyone in the studio. Please, how do you deal with a relationship in which the guy wants you to live with him in his apartment while he has a child with his living with the parents in their family house? When I confront him about it, he says everything in due time. Sandra is writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Liu. It's Lily from Kumba. I don't know how to thank you all for this topic of today because I'm married, but I don't think I'm happy. But I don't know how to table the matter to my husband. You need to call us so that we can counsel you. Hello, Liu, and all the panelists. Love is above all things, Mr. Elvis. Jesus Christ is love. Church is not faith. Okay? Michaelson from Yaoundé says, yes, Mr. Liu, I know people who have problems in marriage because of church. I like a Baptist church, do not really see Catholic church like one faith with me. I have 10 people who have the same problem with their husbands who are in Catholic church. What do we do, sir? Okay. Yes. Good evening, sir. I'm Alex from Muya. If you love someone and she don't have your time, what can I do? Move. You have to run, please.
That's another red flag.
That's a red flag, yes. Run. Good evening, everyone. The panelists are handling the matter beautifully. Kudos to the entire team. Thanks to you, Seliu. Daisy is writing from Kumba. Thank you, Daisy. Good evening to all. Talking about churches, we will just need to bring up a topic about church in Africa and Cameroon, because truly churches has harmed a sum of divorces we have nowadays. Okay, Apostle Ambe has said it. Can we just remind ourselves so that we can look at that next week, please?
We can look at it.
Yes.
I think I would like to look at that.
Yes. Greetings, Mr. Liu, and my great counselors in the studio. Thank you all for always being there to build our relationship, marriages, and our home. God bless you. Regarding the topic, most of us build our marriages on the sand. That's on falsehood. Our spouse may only discover later that you were just devil incarnate within the period of your courtship, and she can't resist it any further. And if a second chance is given in the second world, she can't remarry you. So the best option is divorce, which is against what the Bible teaches about marriage. Others go for wealth. That's looking for well-to-do persons. Okay, message is too long, can't read all of it. Good evening, everyone in the studio. This program is so interesting. Okay, how do you handle a situation where after knock door and childbirth, the man decides to back off, saying you guys heard it, and as it's not enough, he cares less about his child, and he is sending his family to check his child on his behalf with the notion that he doesn't want to have anything to do with the girl again. Should I be welcoming such a family? Okay, many questions as to many persons are already in situations. You guys have to talk before we get to yes. Somebody talked about the fact that a guy is building a house for somebody, bought a car, and is doing a lot for the girl, and discovered that the girl cheated on him and is pregnant for another person. That is enough red flag now. Should you go on with it?
I don't really want to see that as a very huge red flag. It depends on the man. If the man wants to continue with the relationship, he can continue. Okay. Because the lady might have, cheated and had a baby, but there are many other good factors about her, which the man will want to continue in the relationship. So, if I am the man's pastor, because
factors now we are talking about that people continue despite the other red flag they saw.
Despite the red flag the factor they saw. So if the man sees that there are other issues, I think when I launched my first I launched a book, not the first book. When I launched my book in 2019 or thereabout, before you say I do, one of my readers wrote to me. He said there is a situation he was facing. He met a lady and knew the lady. In fact, the lady told him that she had one child. So, in fact, he accepted the lady in that condition, that, okay, he's going to continue in the relationship and formalize it, despite the fact that she had a baby already. So now, 2 weeks to the traditional marriage, he discovered that the lady had another child and was hiding from him. So he now wrote to me and was asking, what should he do? What should he do? He actually loves the lady, but this particular issue she's done, that she hid the other baby from him, is already, it's a very serious issue for him already. So in such a situation, I say, if you think that you can't continue, please walk out of relationship. But if you think that there are other more relevant factors, but for me, I told him, I said, in my opinion, if I am the one, I won't continue in such a relationship, because lying on such a huge factor is already, in fact, it's a pointer that there is much under the table. There is a manipulation that is actually not good. So I am saying so to say that one of the red flags is secrecy. You can't be in a relationship with somebody who does everything to hide information from you. Does everything to conceal everything about himself or herself from you, and you think you continue with such a person. There are people who have hit health situations. Somebody who has been, in fact, some people who are epileptic, they make sure they take their drugs very well so that they are near you, there is no manifestation of that epilepsy. You go into the marriage, by the time you are already married to the person, some of those things begin to surface. So it is always good, we encourage people that when you are about to get married to somebody, open up in some key issues. There are wounds that when you take them to the hospital, they open up the wound well before the treatment process begins. If you begin to hide some things and you think that you will make your way with it, in fact, over time, there's going to be a revelation of those things, and you won't find it funny that the man is in that relationship with it. And one of the things which many people have, had difficulties in the relationship is that in the course of it, the man did not bother, or the woman did not bother, to even do some probing. Go back to what the love doctor said about profiling. You do some probing. In prayers, you can even get to know some people. In asking some questions, you get to know some people. In doing some research about the person, you get to know the person. Don't just be rushing that you love the person, and get into issues that tomorrow you are not able to come out from. One thing in relationships is that there is a compatibility factor, which if it shows from the onset that these two people cannot work together, back out of relationship. Two of them should agree to go. You can agree to end a relationship without causing hurts to one another. That is, you people see that it can't go. For X and Y, it can go. And for X and W, it will not go. So if it is so, back out, find your match.
Okay, find your match.
Personality incompatibilities are a serious red flag that some people have decided to say, okay, we'll just go. In fact, I believe the person will change. There are inbuilt characteristics and characters of people that they can never change.
Okay. Your fiancé seems to manipulate you into doing what he or she wants. You are continuing the relationship because of fear of hurting your fiancé or of what he or she might do if you end the relationship. There are many persons who are light into relationships, and you are dating a guy, you think that he's a custom officer, you are with him, he arranges, he takes you to maybe the friend's apartment. Many of them, you are dating a girl and she tells you that I'm working in a bank because she always looks good and that. How do you?
Yes, the truth is, there are some two things that I really want to say. There is what to compromise and what not to compromise in a relationship. You see, for example, I might say I'm a Bamenda person, I like achu, I don't like snails, for example. No, I eat snails, I'm just saying. So I might say I don't eat snails. There are people who come to me and say, no, I will never eat snails. Now, and maybe the lady likes snails. I'm just giving an example. And then now, the lady now says, I cannot cook me achu. You understand? That can be something you can compromise on. I don't understand. It's not a key factor. We can always work that out one way or the other. But what cannot be compromised are key values, because it has to do with purpose. For example, he's talking about compatibility. Sometimes when we talk about breakup, sometimes the breakup is not because somebody is necessarily bad. Somebody's complete makeup can just be not good for you. I have always explained this using the body. If they take the cells of the scrotum, let's say your sperm cells, and drop into your stomach, it will fry, because the stomach has gastric acid. Does it mean the stomach is bad for having gastric acid? Scientists will tell you no, it needs the gastric acid to dilute the food. So who you are have certain characteristics that somebody might think it is toxic, but it is perfect for who you are. So there's some people say, the man they so eat overwork. In fact, there are ladies I dated and they cannot continue dating because like, he's a workaholic. No, this is the truth, because I work like crazy. Now, if you take away that work, I will not be me. I will not animate. So these are some realities. The truth is, Mr. Leo, sometimes when we don't understand, that's why you see I had a whole message, a whole online. In fact, many people were following me for that message on how to have a successful breakup. In fact, when I had that session online on Telegram, over 500 participants were present. One pastor contacted me, man of God, how can you be encouraging breakup? I said, this is some of the problems we have. Like Apostle Ambe say, sometimes we have made certain things look bad. And it looks, in fact, the truth is, Mr. Leo, I can tell you, more than 40%, I don't want to exaggerate, of people are still in their previous relationship while they are dating the new person. Yes. They have not broken up. They might not be with that person physically. Now you begin to wonder why you are doing your best, but the other person is never appreciating. He wants your shirt to always look like this. If you want to make you work and so, you might take now because subconsciously they are comparing you to their ex. My ex not be the wear shirt na so. He be liking a blue shirt. Why you not like red shirt them? I like me in a purple tie. You see, they are comparing you to somebody. In fact, never date somebody who cannot eat because of a breakup that happened 2 years ago. Now, it shows wounds that have not healed. I told somebody, I said, you cannot sit here and say you are crying the whole day, you cannot sleep, you cannot eat because of a relationship, and you say you have moved on. You haven't moved on. And most of the times, there is a tendency in the world for people to say the way forward of dealing with that hurt is to take another relationship immediately. This is wrong. So you must be able, and like Apostle Ambe said, that 6 years that some people spend, they don't know how to profile. Sometimes they are sitting there and you think they are learning who the other person is. They are not even learning. Like you said,
They're just passing time.
they are just there. How can they even learn when they have already become so entangled? You are living with a man already. How can you even understand? Because a lot of time when a woman has already offered herself, she feels like you are indebted to him. Like a woman feels like you owe her something when she has given herself.
So how do you do with this impersonation? This thing is saying that he's doing this one, but it's a lie.
Okay. Now when people begin to do all of these kind of things, right?
I forgot my question.
Yes, no, I'm coming back. When people begin to lie, because impersonation is not, you are just giving me one thing, which is a core thing. It's a core red flag. Because most of the times a lady wants to, there is something that they want. If a person is doing that, right, subconsciously they kind of think that they know what you want. They are playing with you. Even in religious cycles, these things happen. It's not only in fact, in religious cycles, it's very easy. They know that this sister and a person really like God. So what do? They become a tongue-speaking brother. They become a midweek attending sister. They become this is real. You know, they play the role and makes it look like that. And once that happens, I want to say this. That was I talk about what to compromise, what not to compromise. When somebody can deceive you with a core thing. Listen, if I am afraid to tell you, for example, at the beginning of a relationship that I have a child, and I tell you maybe along the line 4, 5, 6 months, it's not deceit. Because I cannot just meet you and start telling you secrets. Yeah. Because it's another thing. We want to be very clear. Yes. It's something else.
Yeah, but you know what we are talking about.
Yes. No, I'm just trying to make it clear.
You are talking about
we are already now. No, sorry. We are already, when we go to that call, like you're already getting to the marriage, and somebody has already deceived you with that call thing. It can be about their age. It can be about their sickness.
Apostle, others have to talk now.
Yes, but I want to say this. Once it is the reason, once somebody has deceived you with such a thing, that's something you don't compromise with.
Okay.
That is a red flag. You don't compromise. You must know what to compromise and what not to compromise in a relationship.
Apostle, you take this one. Good evening, please. If you date a guy for 6 years and later he comes to tell you he will divorce his wife to marry you, can you give him a chance? Karen is writing from Ghana.
Is that a question, Mr. Leo?
Yes, it's a question now.
The lady is going out with a married man, and the man says he will divorce his wife and come and marry you.
Tomorrow they will divorce you to marry another woman.
The thing that caused that man to leave that woman will cause him one day to leave you. You cannot see evil and you are trying to embrace the evil. The man who is making himself a divorce is already a danger, enough danger for you to go there.
Okay. So Karen, I hope that's clear.
These people paint their wives very bad.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. There is rampant divorce cases because both partners are not truthful to themselves. They hide lots of things and discover realities after signing the paper. Mo is writing from Yaoundé. Hello, good evening to you and your panel. Mr. Leo, listen to you and your panel debate. I have this to contribute. If marriage was a textbook to read from page 1 to page 10,000, no man or woman will marry. I'm married and my study awareness of marriage is a game of give and take, and prayers should be at the center. Divorce is something not to encourage, for I look it from a dull end. I think both of you in the beginning were new engines, and after using the engine, it becomes second hand. And any person running after an old engine is not a responsible individual and should be considered a second class in society. Divorce is very often brought about by bad friends and poor self-control, accompanied by formulated lies telling, all brought about by jealousy. Prayer should be at the center of every relationship, with forgiveness the watchword. Clement Kando, writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Liu and crew. I appreciate your topic for today and thank the level-headed men in the studio. Permit me say most of those derogating the Catholic Church are indeed ignorant of it. Let me tell someone that child dedication is not prohibited in the Catholic Church, but again, it is not forced on the Christians. I did dedicated my son in the Cali Church. Greetings to my wife and son, Prince Caleb, Derek Wala. I should be writing from Chang. Please, I beg, really need to hear Apostle Ambe talk on this. What is this? Good evening to everyone in the panel. Please, Apostle Ambe, what of if the couples have a child or children and come to see that one partner is not changing from the bad attitude? Okay, Mr. Alfred, Chair Alfred is writing from Yaoundé. Yes.
They are not legally married, right? I'll give you the song of Amumba. Born picking with somebody, my brother, he no be na married.
Okay.
Married be married, friend be friend.
So thank you, brother.
Okay. Good evening. Let's call a spade a spade. On no occasion should a believer get married to an unbeliever. Marriage is a union between two people having a common goal, the same belief, okay? I have a marriage counselor who divorced his wife and wife who divorced her husband.
Yes.
Any divorce between couples is an indication that God did not first approve the marriage. Too much reason is too much calculation disrupts a union. In Bible days, men were shown signs about their wives. Today, men find women in bars and nightclubs. When you see a kiss under the mistletoe, grab it and that's your God partner. Okay? Suremi writing there. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please help me. I'm Emmanuel from Yaoundé. I am in five years of relationship, and when I came for traditional rites and the family don't want the marriage issue. Our first child died. What can I do? Help me, please. Just call us after the program or write to me. I'll send you the contacts of the counselors to get detail with you. Good evening, Mr. Leo and the panel. Such a great panel with all the hurdles women go through in marriage. I'm not ready for marriage nor pregnancy. It's Mel writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Mr. Leo. It's Bro John from Bamenda. I want to appreciate all the men of God in the studio. May God bless you all. Mr. Leo, how can you help a wife who cannot say I'm sorry when she's wrong? Okay, that's what the Apostle Ambe said earlier on. But we have to move on to our second topic for tonight, which has to do with the fact that can Christians divorce? Is it possible for Christians to divorce a man of God? How possible is that?
It's very, very possible, Mr. Leo.
The Bible
Very,
says
very
I hate
possible.
divorce. God says I hate divorce.
God says he hates divorce, which is very, very correct. There are many things that God hates, not only divorce. Why do you make emphasis as if God hates only divorce?
Can we have the second topic? Okay. Can Christians also divorce? Yes.
There are situations where we're going to permit Christians to divorce. We do not encourage divorce. We don't preach divorce. But there are situations where life is more important than divorce. You can weigh something on a balance and know which one is important. Any relationship that will take away your life, my brother, my sister, get out of it. I have seen witches kill people who are not safe. People died and go to hell. The witches remain on earth and got safe and went them to heaven. A man cannot kill you. You go to hell and he stays behind and repent and go him to heaven. When life is at stake in any relationship, both emotionally and physically, you have the right to run away. In our modern day, according to the law, there's something called judicial separation, where both parties accept or agree to separate for at least 2, 3, 4 years to study if they can still continue. If they cannot continue, they break out finally. Situations like that are permitted. But I can tell you, if you are in a house where you are emotionally abused, beaten always, physically molested, sister, with all sincerity, I will counsel you. Tell that man that you cannot continue. As a matter of fact, pack your things and run before you follow documents. Don't wait until you accept a divorce letter before you go out.
Maybe she will be praying now that God should touch him.
Mr. Leo, we have seen many Christians or people pray in relationship and end up losing their lives. There is no man who can buy life. That dowry they pay for your head was not the exchange for your life. Know this in your head. The dowry a man paid on your head is not exchange for your life. Nobody can buy life. Do you know how much money your parents invested in you before the man came and paid that 2 goats and 1 pig? Are you equivalent to a pig? Will you exchange for a pig? When your life is at stake, sister or brother, run. On the part of the man, if you are married to a woman who is very stone-hearted, he emotionally traumatizes you. That can give you high blood. We are talking this abuse. People don't understand. The abuse is on both sides. Yes. Men abuse women physically, women abuse men emotionally. There are women that will make you, your blood pressure will rise. You can even have stroke. No wonder. I can tell you, my brother, with all sincerity, back out of that relationship. Your life is worth more than any relationship on earth. The Bible says in the resurrection, they will not be given to marriage. Marriage is an earthly affair. It should not destroy an eternal purpose.
Okay, Apostle Ambe, very briefly, because others will have to talk. Please, Apostle Ambe, help me. I'm called Daniel from Limbe. I just got married, but my wife don't want to have sex with me. Even when she is wrong, she can't say sorry, and I will even be the one again to ask for forgiveness to her. So what will I do?
How did you enter into it first?
Exactly my question.
You were supposed to have seen this red flag earlier and treated it by avoiding this relationship. So brother, marriage is not, it's a red flag. I said it here. I say a woman that cannot apologize. That is a man. I said it on both sides. To the extent whereby a woman should be humble or a man should be able to apologize, not because he's wrong, but because he wants peace. Apology is not only when you are wrong. Sometimes you apologize because you want peace. That's the truth. If somebody cannot come to that level in a relationship, I'm telling you, you marry Nakonga, I'm not talking pigeon. Nakonga, you marry her. That's the simple truth. So if a woman refuses to give you her body, number one, either, not all cases, somebody else is servicing her very well. I'm going to talk about the 1/10 factor. 1/10 factor. There are women who get married to a man because the man sexes them very well. There are 10 keys to get married, and the man fulfills 1. He sexes you well, you get into the marriage. When they will sex you and landlord will ask you to go out, and you're married to a gigolo, you will understand that sex is a factor, not the entirety of marriage. It's the 1/10 factor. Let me not get into that for now. So please, not to get all that kind of thing. So, so that's the truth. A woman refuses to her body, either she is possessed with an evil spirit, a spiritual husband that does not want you to have sex with her, marine spirit, or somebody else is giving the services that you have not been able. Number 2, a rigid, stone-hearted, die-hearted woman that cannot apologize in her error. My brother, you are in 1 chance.
1 chance.
You have entered 1 chance in marriage. She needs to meet a counselor. And the demon should be casted out of her in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach.
Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm still in courtship and my boyfriend already got another girl pregnant. and has been apologizing. Is this a relationship to continue?
No, but normally you're talking about red flags. This is what we are talking about. You just show that he's very emotional. Truly, when you get married, you still see him go out with other women. So just get ready. If you're continuing, it means that you want to accept the fact that after marriage, even if he goes out with other women, it's not going to be a problem. These things are things you see them and you choose to accept them or you choose to let them go. You see, that's the kind of thing. You cannot be eating your cake and you want to have it. You know, the man is already showing you a sign that that is who he is. Especially if you are the type that you say that no sex before marriage. You know, and he could not also hold himself. He had to go again now for another lady. Yes, and it's really a challenge. So I think that you can move on with your life and then live a better life. You know, and the other side of it is that his emotionalism can also be helped by you. And you must only help it before marriage. If you discover that he cannot change on that note, please leave it. Don't go away from marriage.
Enjoying the topic a lot this evening. Thank you all. I would like to say that for every divorce, there were signs and symptoms of a divorce before they even married. So if divorce is alarming, one can only imagine the high rate of wrong relationship right now. But when talking about Christians, the Bible says the two shall become one.
Yes.
And it's often said that what God has put together, Christians should do everything not to divorce.
Yes, exactly. Christians should do everything. That is it. Christians should do everything not to divorce, but when it comes to a particular case or situations, just like how Apostle Ambe was explaining, it is bound, you're bound to divorce. For example, you get married to a man who did not tell you that he's impotent. Yes, he cannot make love to you, that kind of a thing. Is not, his erection cannot come up. That kind of a thing you cannot put. It is deception. Yes, it's deception. He told you a lie, and that kind of a thing. Either you can try, number one, you can try medicinal, you can try to carry out your medicines to see how it can be healed. But if you discover that it cannot be healed, you both can go your pathways. Because one of the reasons that people get married is for procreation, to be able to have children, and all of a sudden you discover that.
Not for companionship.
Companionship is part of it, but procreation is also part of it. You know, so that kind of thing. Yes, yes. So we are always looking at it from this angle. Never let it not be a deception. If it is a deception, even at the level of the courts, they will tell you that no, you cannot continue. They can break it easily. But if both of you knew about it and you go into it, that one is okay. Yes. Okay. What about someone that who is hiding the health condition? You know, maybe HIV positive or some kind of things, and then you only discover when you're in a marriage. Yes. No, we always tell people that no, you cannot continue such a marriage. There are so many things that Christians can, you know, go. And that is why it is always good before you. That's why we are talking about this issue of religion and everything. It is good that you get married from people that are having the same kind of culture, the same common religion, common everything. Because of what, it is easy to flow with such people, and people in your circle can easily counsel you and pull you through. Okay. Unlike the sake that you go out and you get some other kind of thing, and then you want to come in and you have those kind of encounters. So when it gets to the point where both of you cannot come to that kind of agreement, then they go their separate ways.
Okay. Let's move over to Bumenda to get the intervention of Miss Asanji Yvette on this topic.
Okay, Mr. Leo, talking about this second topic, if Christian couples can divorce. If you read, let's say, Matthew 19 going down, you're going to see these Pharisees that came to trap Jesus. They asked him that can a man divorce his wife? And God said, a man shall leave his father and his mother. From the creation, they were created male and female. A man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And what God has put together, let no man put asunder. And they went ahead to ask, but Moses said we can divorce. And he said, Moses said so because you people are too hard to teach. But in the beginning, it was not so. Now, this is where a lot of Christians are dying silently in marriages. Yes. A lot of Christians are dying silently in marriages. Non-Christian marriages, if it's not going, they go to court, they divorce officially, you know, and it's clear. But Christian marriages, because of what people will say, because of what the church will say, very few go through that process of officially divorcing. But they have hell marriages. It's not going. I have personally counseled a lot, even pastors. It's not going in their marriages. At one moment, God said, at one moment, God is saying, I don't know what they heard and what they're hearing now, but that's not my concern. What I'm trying to say here is that marriage, the truth is, marriage is not for everybody. In some marriages, it's not going. I personally have a case where the lady has stopped going to church because she said, Ma, I cannot keep pretending going to church and people are seeing us wearing the same matching dresses, going to church together, and they think everything's fine. It's not. It's not. I've been pretending for too long and I've stopped going to church. I said, no, that's where you missed it. You cannot stop going to church because your marriage. No, nothing should stop your salvation. When it comes to church, please, that's your personal relationship with God. Marriage should not take you away from God. So what I'm trying to say here is that a lot of Christian marriages are not going through divorce, but they are separated. They are separated, and they are keeping it a secret because of what the world will see. In any case, like the Bible said, maybe unfaithfulness you can divorce, but there are also cases where you can divorce. If marriage is life-threatening, whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, please, at that moment your life is more important than anything. Marriage is even coming. It should be coming last. At this moment, your life is the most important thing. Christians have come in for counseling Mr. Leo, the thing is, you'll be surprised that unfaithfulness is even worse in church. Christians now cheat more than unbelievers. People go to church and they are acting holy, but what they do, sometimes it begins to marvel me. Are there Christians or their church goers? Anyway, church is like a hospital. Church is like a hospital. It has a lot of sick people, mental people. And so when you begin to look at, this is why some people will not even some people will not even repent. Because when they see what people in the church are doing, they say, no, they're better. Seriously speaking, we have people that might even go to heaven that are not going to church. But we have a lot of unbelievers in church. Cheating going on. I mean, no, I will not lie to you, Mr. Leo. It's alarming. It's alarming. And if such marriages are like that and it's not going, if a man is keeping 3-4 women in the name of a Christian, he's a Christian or she's a Christian and she's dead on that basis, and the marriage is not going, it's easier to say pray here. But when somebody chooses to misbehave, that was a personal decision. It's personal. Even as counselors, one of our listings is, going in for divorce or encouraging anybody to go for divorce. We always want to see how we can restore homes. We always see how we can help homes get back on one piece. But I won't lie to you, most Christian marriages are sick. They are sick, and they are even worse than people that are divorced. Because the pillows of the couples get wet every night. So, like I told you, have separated. I mean, separated for good, but they have not made it official. I had a case where somebody came to me and told me that I know that as a pastor, as a man of God, I can't divorce my wife, but I just want to just leave and go into another town and start my life all over. Christian marriages are sick. If somebody should die because you are a Christian and you are in the marriage that is not working, I will not lie. Mr. Leo, this one I will not lie. Please, better divorce. Marriage is not for everybody. Your life, marriage is not the final fulfillment. It's not the final destination. God created you for something, which is purpose, and you are coming into this world to achieve that purpose. If marriage should take you away from that purpose, let the marriage go. Fulfill your purpose.
Mr. Asanji there. He says a child. Anyway, yeah. Good evening, Pastor Ambe. What is your position on the case where a husband don't want to see his wife with her ex, even when she is saying that it is just a brotherly relationship? Would you?
No, I don't accept that kind of relationship. However brotherly it looks like.
Okay.
Yes. There's a brotherly ex. When you are married to somebody, those past relationships are toxic to your relationship. It's good to really build a Jericho wall. Some people will claim that it's just a friendly relationship, but you don't know what will happen, especially if the man you are married to now or the woman you are married to now has some deficiencies vis-a-vis that ex, which if that was the best fit for you, why do you not marry when you were ex before getting to wider you are now? So those are relationships that are very toxic to your relationship that you have to really keep away seriously. Mr. Leo, when we are talking about this issue of Christian and divorce, my
question was in relation to some of the points raised by Mr. Asanji. My question to you, that many Christians are living physically married, but spiritually they're divorced. They're living like singles under a roof.
Yeah, I wanted to come in to say that when we are addressing this thing among Christians, I speak with a bleeding heart.
Okay.
Yes, I say this with a bleeding heart because the circle or the community within which you are supposed to have the healthiest set of marriages is among Christians. The reason is that if we are actually Christians and we are not living carnal lives. The Spirit of God lives in the wife, and the Spirit of God is in the husband. They are supposed to get to a point where, however difficult their situation is, they can both submit to the Spirit of God to sort the things out. So this issue of us saying that Christians can divorce, we are saying it with bleeding hearts. I know if the rest of the servants of God that are here, they are not saying it like it is just some happy kind of point they are raising. It is a very, in fact, it is a challenging thing to be voicing out, because as when the Bible says in the book of Malachi that God hates divorce, and we now are saying that it has gotten to a point where a man and a woman are in a relationship and one's life is being threatened. How can one person be in a relationship and threatening another if both of you are actually submitted to the Spirit of God? That is something we must consider. If two of you are practicing Christians, living your Christian lives in a way that you can both, be sensitive to one another, bring the love of Christ in the center of your relationship, why should it get to a point where things are beyond repairs for us to be talking about living under the same roof and separated, or getting to the point of being divorced? So this issue, as she raised when Jesus Christ was talking about the possibility of divorce due to marital unfaithfulness, it is just one of the reasons, which is, if we have so many reasons to get married and that is one reason for which you can divorce, it means that it is not really about so much of it in God's agenda. He was saying so not to say that it's an obligation that when your spouse has cheated on you, you should divorce. It is a permissible factor, but when it has happened, there is room for reconciliation, there is room for forgiveness, there is room for you to be able to make it. Now, this is something that we must say, like somebody asked a question there, which I don't remember the question precisely, but there is something I want to remark. When somebody is teachable, when somebody is actually showing signs of repentance, it's a different ballgame from which somebody has done something and is hitting his chest that, yes, I've done it. I'm the man here, I've done it. But if the person has done it and you are really seeing signs of repentance, signs of, wanting to start all over again, wanting to, embrace change and become a better version of himself, at least you should not just rush for divorce because there is, if you are a man, you are getting divorced, you are divorcing a woman. Are you going to divorce the woman and marry a pig? You divorce a woman and marry another woman. And who knows whether the other person you will marry will be worse. The same thing for the man. So, all of these things we are saying, we want to mitigate to say that all of the panelists, we are not saying that the issue of divorce being a possibility for a Christian is such a funny factor that some people will hear it now and be saying, no, now that I have been passing through a lot of pain, work things out to a point where things have proven to be beyond repairs per se before you can be considering this issue of divorce. It should not be such that the list falls, you say, no, I will divorce you, the listing, I will divorce you. No. There are people who have done worse things than even this issue of infidelity. Yeah.
Are Christians' homes, are they healthy? She says
they're unhealthy.
The situation is not so good there.
Yeah, I would like to.
But what is the problem coming from?
Okay.
Because we expect at least to have the best.
That's what I'm saying, that when the carnality is.
Yeah, apart from the just, yes, he has mentioned the carnality, but I would like to say something. You see, as a Christian, right, the Bible says we are on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. Sometimes things are blown out of proportion because by virtue of who we are noticeable. And that's the reason I was growing up in the university area. I've been in Boya since 2007. Now, I was growing up in a neighborhood, and I had this neighbor, the guy was living with his girlfriend. They would get up on Sunday morning. Everybody knows that they're living together. His boyfriend and girlfriend. They've been living for about 2 years. They would get up in the morning, wear the same kind of dress, and go to church. Now, I don't want to mention a name of a church. Let it be as if it's about that church, because sometimes don't always attribute people's errors to their church. He lives and goes. They were going to church. Now, at the same time, one day I was coming back, I heard these two couples talking about a Pentecostal sister in their city. And they were saying, you know, some boy, they ever come visit that girl for 7. Now, this couple were talking about I'm putting in quotes, Pentecostal, I don't even know the church of that person, and was saying that a guy was visiting her by 7 p.m. Now, what I'm trying to say is this: sometimes this thing of how things are not moving well with Christians is because we expect them to know better by virtue of the knowledge of Christ and who he is. Because I'm saying this, Mr. Lowe, because like you are saying, can things really be better? Because where is it really coming from? Because the truth is, amongst Christendom of recent, we have heard the amount of divorces that we have not heard for a very, very long time. And this comes to really, because even like you were saying, God hates divorce, but God himself divorced. He divorced Israel. He said, Israel, I divorce you. So because it takes two to make a relationship work, Mr. Leo. Like we're talking about whether Christians should even divorce, because at some point in time, Mr. Leo, if you and I in a relationship, if somebody is in a relationship and one person is not working, you can do all and it's not working. In fact, even Paul said that even if you have an unbelieving husband who does not send you away as a Christian, stay with him. This was Paul. So sometimes we have these issues, and that is because a lot of times people don't want to look bad. Like they are talking, this thing is real. I've counseled an elder in church who has the wife has a car, but the wife never carries him to church. That means she comes to church. Yes, the woman comes to church, the man pays taxi and comes after. I'm not talking, this is what I witness life. I've seen people who wear the same dress, but they are not speaking at home. But I want to say this, these things happen. And I want us to know this, because it happens in both Christian and non-Christians. Sometimes it's blown out of proportion. And like he said, sometimes we must come to that place where we are willing to work it out. In fact, Christians should have more patience.
You say it is blown out of proportion.
Yes.
Same you say that the rate is so alarming than
because
ever before.
No, I'm saying this because I'm making it very clear that the Christians ought to know what to do. You understand? I'm saying that sometimes people can easily say because they are Christians, and I'm saying that that's because they are on the limelight. And I'm not talking to the Christians, that you people that we need to know better. You understand? We have come to that place where we're supposed to know better. And you ask the question, what can be the issue? It is just simply because we try to make this thing too spiritual. It's because, for example, you have quoted here, what God has joined together.
You have a problem with your wife. Instead of talking out, you speak in tongues.
Good. They try to make things too spiritual. Like you said, they say what God has joined together, let no man separate. But we have discovered here that sometimes we are calling about what God has just joined when God did not even join. God did not even know. So just because the church joined did not mean God joined. So I think we try to over spiritualize something, and it boils to that point. Thank God that Jesus made it very clear that marriage ends here on this earth. There is no award in heaven for best marriage. There is no award. God will not line us and say, Apostle Alfred, congrats, you did 17 years with this. No. But God can reward him for the impact his marriage had on the society, on the world, and with regards to his purpose. So I think if a marriage will not make you better, avoid it. And we are saying that some people discover this thing late. And we are saying that if they discover it, do consider some certain terms, some certain gaps, some certain things can come to divorce. I'm saying this because there was a time when people discovered that they could not divorce, they maltreated, especially women. I know this, especially women of pastor, all of this. They knew you cannot divorce. They lied. They did all of those kind of things. We are not saying we want divorce, but we are saying that two people need to work it out. And if we truly know God, for example, we must have the kind of patience of God, have the kind of long suffering, have the kind of understanding, and know that we have to work this with our minds, intelligence. Put the work, like Mr. Leo, somebody said that they needed help here. It will shock you to know when they get to us, once you start giving them what to do and it does not favor them, they walk away. Okay. Once you tell them something that they cannot follow, so if they are willing to work it out, I think we'll have better marriages.
Stephen Ndukum says that Romans 7 from verse 1 going down says the Bible says a woman that has a husband is bound by the law so long as he lives, not as he has HIV or impotence. If you have sinned by getting married to the wrong partner, you are bound to stay with her. And if you divorce him or her, you will stay unmarried until she or he dies. Yes, but there's also this issue of staying single. Is it not Apostle Paul who says that if you think that you cannot get, if you can stay single? Yes, you can stay because single. Seemingly some Christians see being single as a taboo. Is that not where a problem is also?
They make marriage as if it's salvation.
It's the impression. I must be sincere. It was because when I became born again, I understand that marriage is a miracle. It was when I became born again, then I understood that marriage is a miracle. the kind of way our sisters pray for marriage. I have told them to build capacity. Men will fit into your capacity. Stop asking for husband when you have nothing to offer. That's what I've been telling sisters in the church. I said, I don't have CEOs. If you want to ask those who want to get married on Sunday in the morning to anoint them, the whole church is full. Ask those who want to create plantations, open companies, start NGOs, or common initiative groups. They are sitting in the crowd because they see marriage as an employment and a job opportunity. They don't see it as a means. When I say this thing now, girls will begin to attack me. Marriage is not a job opportunity. It is not a means of employment. Get yourself valuable. Men will pursue you. I told myself, I said, if I were to be married to Foloronsho Alakija, the richest black woman in Africa, that marriage cannot have divorce. I'm telling you. Even if she comes late, I'll say, Mommy, come. The capacity she has built, I will not accept me divorce. I will not accept. I cannot accept divorce. The reason why men easily cheat is because you have nothing to offer. If you have something substantial to offer, listen, the reason why when you are insulted at your place of work, you don't go is that salary. People get angry and walk out of churches what they cannot do at their place of work. People go late to church because they feel they have nothing they offer them and go to work early. I ask my workers in the church that the energy you have to get up early and go to work, what is happening without energy on Sunday in the morning? Because value is placed. If somebody does not have value as offering, marriage is not a job opportunity. People don't get married to beauty anymore. They get married to substance and value. And this is the reason why when you walk into a relationship where you have nothing to offer after some years, the man sees you more of a liability than an asset. He say, what I do with you? I don't check around. Spiritually, you know, give you use. Economically. I didn't see you. I've been saying by this time to go even common box matches. Now me I still by what you do here. You say, I never born you picking them. Did you come to remember in my house? You see, that is where you have a problem. I'm talking about the 1/10 factor. A girl meets a man, the man services her very well. Out of that 1/10, there are 10 things you must do. If a man has not scored at least 6 or 7, or a woman scores 6 or 7, they are not qualified for marriage. Sometimes 1/10. 1/10 is what, not sister. It's a failure. A man gives you sex very well as a gigolo. He works nothing. He doesn't advance the family. He sits in the house. You are the one that beat your body, but because he knows he makes love to you. And even when he's through making that love, he insults the very body that he just made love upon. You see arrogance everywhere. You see laziness. You see pride. You see some kind of disgusting attitude. But because that 1/10 factor that he makes love to you, you say, now here I go marry them. When you will marry, you will realize that 1/10 doesn't pass any exam. 1/10 cannot succeed in any concours. 1/10 cannot excel in any public examination. So you are a failure on arrival in any relationship. That's what I'm telling you. Another reason I'm talking about is value here. When you enter into a relationship, a man may observe you or a woman may observe you for the first 3, 4, 5 years. And then she takes a resume and ascertain on the economic, spiritual, social, mental, probably family building aspect. He weighs you on those different strata and discover you have nothing. He will ask himself, where am I going to? I'm carrying a burden on a journey that if I thought I had discharged this burden, I would have increased in speed. When you become a liability to a man on both ways, man or woman, it is best certain that marriage will not last.
Okay.
People hate carrying load on them with the one they already have.
Okay.
Everybody has the baggage.
Good evening to you, Evangelist Leo, and to Love Doctor, Apostle Ambe, Valentine, and all in the studio. Good outing from all panelists. I love what you people are doing. Pastor Akara writing from Kumba. Okay, Miss Asanji is right. Christian marriages are really sick. Thank you, Rev Tatoh exes are really toxic. No need having a close relationship with an ex, for it will only bring you problems in your home. Okay? Thank you, Apostle Ambe. Marriage is not a job opportunity. Women should do something substantial too, so that they can be valued. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to all the panelists. Please, Mr. Liu, try to invite Muslim scholars to tell we their own part of their religion. Okay, I hope to have them. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Why ask for divorce? Why did you get married to he or she in the first place? This can only happen to opportunists. One who got married with a string attached. Sake Moses, writing from Limbe. Okay, message is gone. Greetings, Mr. Liu, and to you all in the studio. Corinthians 7:7 to chapter 7, verse 7 to 11 says, "For I would that all men were even as I myself, but every man had his proper gift of God, one after this manner and another after that. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But as they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. But if she depart, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife." Kizito is writing from Limbe. Good evening to you, Kizito. Now, the situation, you are a pastor. They say the situation is not too good in our churches. How do we fix this? Is it possible to curb the rate of divorce within the Christendom?
Yes, it's very possible to at least control the rate of divorce in our churches. The first thing is the church should concentrate on educating the youths. The youths must be educated. We should not only wait when they reach at marriageable ages before we start getting to them, because a lot of times we always assume that the women, they should train the women to be wives, but we don't also say that they should train the sons to become good husbands, and it becomes a problem. One of the things we do in our churches is that I always want to talk to the women and say that, please don't hold meetings only with the women, because there's always this thing that's a women's meeting. They want to teach the girls, but we don't have a men's meeting where they teach only the boys. We hardly have those kind of meetings. And I also want to say that when it comes to teaching about marriages, the women should call a man to teach them what men want in marriage. Then the men should also call a woman to tell them what women usually want in marriage. When they begin to hear all these things, it's going to help a lot of things. And I believe that pastors should also be a model, because when a pastor is not a model to teach in good marriage, obviously the church will have a problem too, because they see that the pastor is not in accord with the wife. The pastor's children are wayward. All those kind of things. It makes them to also take marriage with the left hand. At the end of the day, people are hurt in marriages. So we want to say that Christians should not only learn church things, they should also learn social life, because they really lack the knowledge of social life. That's why when they encounter some kind of challenges, they don't know how to handle it, because they don't know how to balance what they call life and godliness. You go out there and you're faced with some challenges, you don't know how to handle it. Okay, for example, the internet, to browse and to get some information about sex and other related issues. Christians find it as a taboo. They don't want to make those researches, but other people do it, and that's why you see they go in. And now why we see a lot of Christians divorce is because they are the ones who mostly get married. Unbelievers don't marry easily. They can stay with a woman for 6 years, 7 years, and everything. But a Christian, in the space of 1 year, you're thinking of getting married. In the space of 2 years, you're thinking of getting married. Sometimes they even come in the space of 3 months and 6 months. They are thinking of getting married. So they are the ones that we always see that they are divorcing, because they are the ones who marry in terms of percentages.
Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, and your panelists. Although the topic is focused on Christianity, please next time bring in somebody who can represent the African traditional viewpoints on matters like this. out. Culture offers wealth of information on how to manage love and marriage relationship. Terence is writing from St. Pete. Mabisong says, very good. Topic, good evening to you. Mabisong writing from Kumba. Good evening to you all in the studio. I'm Akupe Modest Queen, writing from Bamenda. I highly appreciate the topic of today. What Apostle Ambe just said is nothing but the truth. Women, if you like, take it or leave it. Women should concentrate in building themselves, then marriage will follow. Praying for marriage, ask yourself, what do you have to offer that will sustain the marriage first? Okay. Modest Queen says that women in church, they should also focus on building capacity. He also raised the issue that there are some aspects that the church may be failing in, that is exposing members to not actually fulfill the demands of marriage.
Yeah, actually, what I want to say is that pastors they have a very big job, because not all pastors have hands-on skills when it comes to relationship issues. But there are some skills that are auxiliaries to the pastoral ministry, which a good pastor who is supposed to be rounded is supposed to acquire them. You can't say you pastor a church and you don't really have at least some basic knowledge of how you orientate your Christians when it comes to relationships and marriages. So those are some things which pastors are supposed to really take seriously. There are some pastors that when you see the way they treat marriages, when they treat marital relationship issues within their churches, is so disappointing. For instance, one of the things that will make some of these relationships challenging is that they are exposed prematurely. And if you're a pastor who maybe somebody has come and spoken to you about marriage, and you already blow it out, and these people finally do not end up in marriage, and or when they end up marrying, their relationship is under strain because it was exposed prematurely, it means you are not doing your job well. So what we are saying, in addition to what Apostle Esingie said, is that besides people gaining capacity, besides people learning to be social life in the church, pastors are supposed to see how to really, get some skills of how they can do basic orientation when the things become more ramified before they can even refer their Christians to counselors. And some pastors think that if they refer their Christian to a counselor, they are failing. No, it is not a failure on your part. If you don't master relationship issues, well, you can refer that, okay, I will send you to go and discuss with somebody as far as this thing is concerned. Don't force yourself to discuss. Yeah, somebody you know and trust.
Their belief system.
Yeah, you don't make as if, sending somebody to go and discuss on relationship issues is because you are deficient. No, I think God has gifted many people in various domains. You may have your own areas where you are more proficient. So it's something that pastors must really take more seriously when it comes to these relationship issues.
Apostle Lefor, Divine, it shows that pastors themselves, they need training now in this domain. Yes. Because many pastors are playing the role of counselors when they actually need training in that domain. Yes. And if you cannot give what you don't have, which means that Christians in churches like that actually end up getting married without getting what the required information or skills that would assist them in their homes.
Yes, yes, very true, sir. The truth is, I want even any pastor who is out there to understand and be comfortable with 1, building themselves, 2, learning, 3, networking. In fact, one of the reasons why we should have friends is to have people who weigh in certain things. The truth is, based on your assignment, sometimes you don't have time to do other things. For example, not everybody can organize TLC. That is talking about gifts and all of those things. I might invest myself in like that, but somebody might not see the need. Not everybody, look at what, not everybody can do what Pastor Chris is doing, or David Oyedepo, or whatever. And I want to say this, not only a relationship, because somebody once got to me and they were asking about investment in agriculture. I always say, because you also invest, I said, no, go and meet Mr. Teke. Now, somebody will be like, what? I said, no, I have my own things. I'm a business grower. You understand? Sometimes you must know where some people's strengths are. And while sometimes it must not be that you will not learn the skill. But while you are developing yourself in that area, people might still be marrying your church. Rather than trying to prove that you overknow, you understand? Yes.
If you have some sisters in the church, why not
send them? For example, you're in Douala. These great men here are in Douala. Imagine Douala has all these 3 people are in Douala. Some people are in Boya. They're even calling me loved or whatever, but those totally are uncomfortable. Sometimes you just need to learn at a professional level. You can send them to people while you are building yourself, because these are things. I don't think you can have a church that is growing and people are not marrying. So build yourself in it. Learn. Sometimes you might learn from me, not necessarily by coming to sit under me. You can get my books. You can get my tapes. You understand? You can attend seminars. I think this is a practical one. I think everybody who is growing, I am not ashamed to learn. There are times I go to programs just to sit down and learn. So I think the pastors can help to learn more about relationship. I always say that there are things that I say that, okay, I am an expert in, but there are things that I will comfortably say that, no, I'm not an expert in. And we will learn, we will direct them, and we will coordinate them to have those skills. So I think every pastor should be comfortable learning, growing. Look, Paul said, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. It means when he was at that, he was speaking like a child. So the wise thing is to get others who are mature to help while you are also growing. But I think every pastor should learn the skill to understand about relationships.
Okay. Mr. Liu, thank you very much for this program. Apostle Ambe, thank you indeed. Marriage is not a job, because some ladies are waiting for a man who has money to come and remove them from poverty. KUM Median, writing from Kumba. Are you someone who is passionate about issues of peace? Do you love spreading peace messages? There is an association that is focused on preaching peace, and they say they want members to join. If you are a young person who is passionate about peace, please just get to me. I will connect you to them so that you can preach peace in your community. You can preach peace in your church. You can preach peace in your village or quarter, wherever. So if you're interested in joining them, just get to me so that I get you connected to them. We want to say thank you to you, Apostle Ambe Valentine, for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. For those of you who have been asking, my Facebook page is Apostle Ambe Valentine. That's my Facebook page. Follow me on that page on Facebook. You will get access of all these messages you hear every day.
Okay. Also to you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo, and my fellow panelists who have just done justice to the topic today. We also want to say that whenever there are mistakes and some things we did not answer very well, you can always get back to us.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, it's always an honor. And please remember, TRC 2021 is coming, the Light Convention, mega exhibition. For those of you who wanted to get tickets or understand how to participate, you can get my number 67552-8266, 67552-8266, or write to me on Facebook, Lefor Divine. We have a nation to build. 3rd to 6th of November, it shall be awesome at Chariot Hotel, Boya.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend, for coming.
My utmost pleasure, Reverend Leo. Maybe it's a prophecy.
Amen. Amen. I receive.
Thank you. Thanks to our co-panelists and to our viewers. Thanks for their wonderful contributions, those who wrote to us.
So if you want to be a peace ambassador, just get to me. I'm going to link you to the guys who really want us to preach peace around our communities, our nation, our continent, and our world. We want to thank you all who took time off to watch this edition of the program. Not forgetting you guys at the production table. We also want to thank you who took time off to supervise the work we do out here. Tabi, Tambe Bryant, stay blessed. Bye-bye.